If you're awake during your body's repair window, the body doesn't just reschedule the work. This is important to keep in mind. Maybe your windows are a little bit different, and you're like, that's okay. I like to sleep during the day. That's okay. I go to bed at 3 in the morning and I am fine. But the truth is that you are missing from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. is that repair window. And if you skip your repair window, you don't just reschedule it, you skip it entirely. So you lose that repair window. Now, the good news is you get a new one every day. But if you have been in the habit of skipping that repair window, if you have been in the habit of not allowing yourself to recharge during those hours of 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. specifically, but all the way up to 6 a.m., you are robbing yourself of the restoration that you need. Welcome to the Be Your Own Life Coach podcast, where you master your mind and coach your own comeback. You are the hero, you are the guide, and you will learn to architect your life from the inside. I'm your host, Britannia Stowe, joined by my sister and co-host, Annika Wilder. Enjoy the show. My mom used to say that the hours before midnight counts for double. I thought she was just being dramatic or trying to get me home before curfew. She also used to say, nothing good ever happens after midnight. And honestly, as an adult, I'm starting to think that she's right. I now know that when I'm in bed before 10 p.m., my sleep is deeper, more restorative, and I wake up feeling so much more refreshed. I feel like me. Sleep isn't a luxury or something that you reward yourself after a hard day. Sleep is foundational. Sleep balances your hormones and your mood, your metabolism, your nervous system, your immune system, and honestly, your life. Sleep really does matter. And the sleep before midnight really makes a difference. Our circadian rhythm is aligned with lightness and darkness. Little known fact, babies don't have circadian rhythm because they have spent all their time in the darkness of a womb. But as we get older and, even within months, a baby's circadian rhythm starts to develop because they're exposed to light versus dark. Now, the deepest and most physically restorative sleep actually happens between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. This is where your growth hormone is released, cells repair, and the brain clears any metabolic waste. This is where you actually recharge and renew. Imagine yourself being like your phone and having to plug it in at night. So, this is us plugging in and allowing us to recharge. There is this expert, Matthew Walker. He's a neuroscientist, and he wrote the book, Why We Sleep. And he explains that sleep timing matters just as much as duration. This is scientifically proven. He says, I quote, an hour of sleep before midnight is not the same as an hour of sleep after 1 a.m. So, Mom, it turns out you were right. You don't have to be a neuroscientist to be able to be right. And I think moms out there know. And as children, we fight it. As young adults, we think we know so much better. And some of us will say, well, I'm just, a night owl, or I hate to wake up early. But it may just be that your circadian rhythm is off, your hormones are off. And if you've allowed that for a long period of time, you can create these bad habits and these bad routines that make you think that you're getting the optimal sleep between midnight and 8 a.m., but that's not true. There is a system, Ayurveda, which is an ancient system, holistic system, dating back thousands of years to India. And this system is based on balancing the body, the mind, the spirit through natural remedies, diet, and lifestyle changes. And I learned about Ayurveda when I was going through yoga teacher training. And they taught me that The 24-hour day, is actually broken down into three 8-hour segments. The first 8-hour segment is 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Interesting. 10 p.m. Just like my mom says, this is a time of rest, repair, and detox. So, 10 p.m., you should be asleep. I'm going to be honest, I am not always asleep at 10 p.m., but I do try. I do try to be lying down around 9:30, and to try to be asleep by 10 p.m. So you should be asleep. This is the time that your liver is detoxing and your nervous system is resetting between the hours of 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Now, I used to wake up at, say, 4:30 in the morning to go work out at the gym. And there were times that I felt really exhausted and beat. And if I just would let myself sleep a little bit later, I would actually feel so much more rejuvenated. And sometimes, as we are, active adults, and if we're really big into fitness, we're like, oh no, I need the 2 hours at the gym. It actually makes a bigger difference if you get a little bit more sleep and then you can be a little bit more concise with your workout. I did a workout yesterday for 30 minutes that kicked my butt. You don't need 2 hours to get a good workout in. So maybe adjust your workout and sleep schedule closer to that 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. window. The next window is 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. This is your productivity window. This is when your digestion and your focus is at its peak. You should be eating your largest meal between the time of 6 a.m. and 2 p.m. In a lot of cultures, that is your lunch. So you eat something small for breakfast, you eat something small for dinner, and your lunch is your really big meal. And you should be eating lunch before 2 p.m. This is also the best time to get work done. Your brain is more awake, you have just recharged, and so you are in productivity mode. You can tackle that to-do list. This is also the time that you should move your body. So yes, work out. Maybe it's not lifting weights. Maybe you take a yoga class, or you like to do a bar or one of these other group classes. That's great. Just move your body. Maybe you don't like to go to the gym at all. That's okay. Take a walk during this time. Your body craves that movement. And from the windows from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. is prime time to move your body. Now, the window from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., this is creativity and connection and winding down. And it's interesting because before I knew that the 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. window was creativity, I used to try to write my book early in the day. I'm going to, wake up and I'm going to write my book, or I'm going to work on my podcast, or whatever creative project I was working on. And I noticed I really struggled to get in the mood to be creative first thing in the morning. I always wanted to move my body just naturally. And then I wanted to get the other things done, my actual work that I'm getting paid for, other tasks, maybe even go grocery shopping. And there were all these other to-do list items that I just felt compelled to do earlier in the day. And right about 1 p.m.-ish, I found myself not wanting to do any of these things anymore. I've had a full day. I've gotten enough done. I don't want to work anymore. Instead, I want to work on my projects. And I noticed that I had this natural rhythm about me. So when I learned about Ayurveda and the three windows, it made a lot of sense to me. This is a time that you can work on creative projects. Also, if you want to be social, if you want to go out with friends, even happy hour, some light snacks, get together with friends, this is great. But as the sun starts to go down, we want to start winding down. We want to allow ourselves to have that close to our super productive day. If you're awake during your body's repair window, the body doesn't just reschedule the work. This is important to keep in mind. Maybe your windows are a little bit different and you're like, that's okay. I like to sleep during the day. That's okay. I go to bed at 3 a.m. and I am fine. But the truth is that you are missing from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. is that repair window. And if you skip your repair window, you don't just reschedule it, you skip it entirely. So you lose that repair window. Now, the good news is you get a new one every day. But if you have been in the habit of skipping that repair window, if you have been in the habit of not allowing yourself to recharge during those hours of 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. specifically, but all the way up to 6 a.m., you are robbing yourself of the restoration that you need. Now, I mentioned having a baby, earlier, and that their cycle doesn't start right away. Well, when you have a baby, and I'm learning all these things for the first time because my son is almost 6 months old. When you care for a baby, everything revolves around wake windows. They tell new moms, don't focus too much on how often they're sleeping or how long they're sleeping. Instead, focus on the wake window and make sure that those wake windows are productive. You want your baby to be stimulated, awake, exposed to sunlight, engaged, learning, and active in both body, mind, and spirit. This will allow babies to sleep better. Every parenting book talks about this. The same is true with adults. We need better wake windows. If you are not sleeping, it may be because you are not properly utilizing your wake window. So let's ask ourselves some questions. Are you moving throughout the day? If you are sitting at your desk all day, every day, and you don't walk and you don't move around, maybe you don't have a watch that bings, and tells you every time, it's been an hour and you've been sitting for too long, then you are not engaging in enough movement, and this will impact your sleep. Also, are you getting sunlight? Even if you're working in a pharmacy, an office, you need to make sure that you're getting sunlight. Take a break. We used to call it at the pharmacy smoke breaks. None of us smoked, but all of the people who did smoke would get these smoke breaks every couple of hours. They would go out and have a cigarette, get some sunlight. And so we would call it our smoke break, just allowing ourselves to step away from our desk, actually stand up, move our body, and to get that sunlight. Also, are you using your brain? Are you challenging yourself? We are meant to be challenged. We're meant to have problems to solve. If you are just sitting all day watching TV, you are not going to sleep good. You haven't learned anything. You haven't engaged your brain. You haven't moved your body. If you are understimulated during the day, you will be overstimulated at night. I'm going to say that again. If you are understimulated during the day, you will be overstimulated at night. If you are having trouble sleeping, it's probably because you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. It may just be that you're not honoring your wake windows. So let's take it back to being a child and let's parent ourselves and give ourselves the sunlight and the activation and movement that we need. Now, I understand that we get busy, we have lives, we have children, we have jobs, and we can't always get all the rest we need at night. The great news is there are naps. You can take naps and you can rest and even do what's called yoga nidra to give you some of the rest that maybe you're neglecting. Having said that, even if you are getting your 8 hours of sleep at night, you may be one of those people who need a little bit more. And again, don't have that time to get it. Well, allowing yourself this time of rest to do either some yoga nidra or take a power nap or just to close your eyes, you can get some of that recharge time that you so desperately need. So when it comes to a nap, you want to take a power nap. This is not your 2 hour nap. I have a girlfriend who every time she tells me she's woken up from a nap, it's not 15, 20 minutes. It's like 2 to 4 hours. Girl, that is not a nap. That is full on sleep. But, you do you. A nap, a good power nap, is 20 to 30 minutes. This will actually improve alertness, enhance mood, and support memory. I remember going into an executive's office once and I saw their couch and they have a conference room where they meet people. So I'm like, why do you have a couch in here? And he was like, in case I need to take a nap. And I was just so blown away. Like, is this socially acceptable? You can just sleep at the office. But he said that it actually makes him better at his job to allow himself to have that 20 to 30 minutes in the middle of the day. He gets far more done and he's a better version of himself. Now, yoga nidra is a type of yoga that I discovered during yoga teacher training. Shout out to Karma Yoga in Denver. I learned so much and I fell in love with yoga nidra because I'd never experienced anything like that. We had gone to a park and they had us lay down our mats, and our teacher opened up a book and read a script. It's a very specific script that allows your body to get into this meditative state. It's often called the non-sleep deep rest and is comparable to getting actual sleep. Research shows that it can benefit similar to getting a nap because it shifts the brain into that theta state. So this script, it would pick up an intensity, and it was allowing our focus to drift in and out. So we would start by focusing on the sounds that are close to us and what do we hear, and it's birds and cars and kids playing. And now take your awareness further out. What do you hear past your perimeter? And it's, oh, maybe it's the highway noise or there's construction noise. And okay, now take it out further and further and then bring it back in. And same with your body, being aware of the tingling of the wind and the hair on your arm blowing in this wind and feeling warmth and cold in your body. And I remember just being completely transformed. I went somewhere. I literally went somewhere. I had such deep rest in that a yoga nidra session that I had the energy the rest of the day to take on so much more. I felt like I had just taken a couple of hours of restful sleep, and it was just a 45-minute yoga nidra session. So if you're interested in yoga nidra, I encourage you to Google it, go to YouTube. I would love to get some of my own scripts out there. Not there yet, but look up Yoga Nidra, play a video, play it on your podcast app, and allow yourself to experience Yoga Nidra. I also encourage you do it, you close your eyes. So don't try while you're driving, and put in headphones. That can make the biggest impact. Now, if you can't sleep, maybe you don't have time to do yoga nidra, you don't have time to take a nap, or you don't have a couch in your office, or you don't even have an office and you work in a cubicle, that's okay. Allow yourself to get some rest. So maybe you can't lie down during the day, but close your eyes. Take a couple of minutes, close your eyes, put your phone away, take yourself away from the light, and close your eyes and just allow yourself to breathe. No phone, no TV. Your eyes closed will help take your nervous system offline, which is what you need. Just like you can't have your phone and your computer going 24/7, they will burn out. You too will burn out. So allow yourself to slow down and get the rest that you need. Rest counts, even if you can't make sleep happen. So you want to sleep, but you can't because at night, for some reason, you're restless. Well, do you have a sleep routine? Do you do the same thing every night to help trigger your body to let you know, hey, it's time to get some rest? If you don't, you should definitely get a sleep routine. Same time every night. If it's off by a couple of minutes, that's okay. But I encourage you to have a bedtime, just like our mom used to give us. Give yourself a bedtime. Dim the lights, no screens for 60 to 90 minutes before bed. And if you do need to look at a screen, because I understand maybe you have a late night text, which put your phone down, it can wait. But maybe you have something happen and you're like, okay, I got to pick up my phone. Put on your blue light glasses. If you don't have blue light glasses, you can get them for less than $20 online at Amazon. Or you can get them, put in your regular prescription glasses. They do like a blue light filter now. I even use my blue light glasses during the day. These are prescription, but they also have a blue light filter because I found when I don't have my blue light glasses, I just look sad. I squint and I slouch and I feel like I have more wrinkles and I don't sleep as well at night. So I wear my glasses almost every day when I'm sitting in front of the computer. But if you do have to look at TV or computer or you're exposed to that light before bed, have some type of filter. It will make a difference and help offset that blue light. By doing these things, you can signal to your body, we're safe. We can turn off. We can slow down. Now, just like we mentioned, wake windows and with babies, you want to make sure that you not only have a sleep routine, but you have a morning routine. So you have a way to trigger your body to say, hey, it's time to go to sleep. And then you have a way to trigger your body that it's time to wake up. Ideally, you want to be exposed to sunlight within 30 minutes of waking up. Now, during winter, it's a little difficult to do that, but I encourage you, if you are able to make your own schedule, then allow yourself to go on your balcony, step out your front door, allow yourself to get that sunlight, even if you're not able to take a 30-minute walk when you first wake up. Getting yourself up and moving within 30 minutes of waking, exposed to light, will help trigger your body that it's time to be awake. I also want to add hydration. You've just spent 8 hours not drinking water. You need water to survive, right? We're like 80% water. So expose yourself to sunlight, move your body, and hydrate and create a system. Maybe you like electrolytes. Maybe you like, a certain kind of water. Maybe you like coffee. Coffee's great. I also have my coffee in the morning, but I also drink a glass of water. So don't replace your water with coffee. You need to actually hydrate because coffee can dehydrate you. So make sure you're getting that hydration in. Create that morning routine. Wake up with this renewed sense of life and self by instead of going, oh, I have to go to work and running and jumping in the shower and putting on your work clothes, take a few minutes to help get your body awake so that you can be productive throughout the day. Something else to keep in mind is your environment matters, right? So we, talked about not having too much light before bed, and a lot of us have a TV in our bedrooms. I do. Full disclosure, I do have a TV in my bedroom. It wasn't my choice. My husband really wanted the TV, and I conceded. He usually puts on like Seinfeld or something before going to sleep. But it's not where we go and like sit and watch a movie or we sit and watch shows. It's not the place that we're like actively engaged. It's more of passive, but still not great. Not a great example. So working on that. But your bedroom, you need to set that environment. You don't want to have loud and bright colors in your bedroom. You don't want to have bright, crazy lights. I know it sounds crazy, but you don't want strobing lights in your bedroom. It will create too much activity in your brain and it won't allow you to turn off. I also encourage you, if you love your social media and you like to do your scrolling, it's better to do that on the couch than to do in your bed. Because again, you're waking yourself up in a place that should be triggering you to slow down and to go to sleep. So, I encourage you to make your environment a welcoming environment in your bedroom for sleep. I remember having this conversation years ago at the pharmacy about your bed and the purpose of a bed. And I used to do everything on my bed. I would write, I would create, I would read, I would paint. My bed was like my safe place. And he said, listen, your bed is good only for two things, right? Your bedroom is to house your bed. So really your bedroom, you should only be doing two things. And I was like, two things? I know one of them sleep. What's the other one? And he said, sex. You should only be sleeping and having sex in your bedroom. I'll never forget that. So make it an inviting place for both. Now, there are health benefits to sleep. And we know that. We've heard that before. Why do we struggle so much though to get the sleep that we need? Maybe we don't quite understand what sleep impacts. So I'm going to break it down for you. Sleep impacts your hormonal balance, your cortisol, your insulin. It also balances your immune function. All right. So if you're traveling a lot, you're getting sick, you want to make sure you're getting that sleep. Your mental health. It will impact your anxiety or your depression. More sleep, optimal sleep at the right time will decrease your anxiety and your depression. It will also increase your memory and your learning because it increases your overall cognitive function. And get this, it increases and helps and supports your cardiovascular health. So that's your heart health. If you don't get sleep, if you are a victim of chronic sleep deprivation, you are at risk of getting heart disease. It is a medical known fact. So if you are not prioritizing sleep, you are increasing your risk of heart disease even at a young age. You are also increasing your risk of type 2 diabetes and of obesity. You're increasing your risk of mental health issues and burnout and emotional deregulation. So you know the benefits now. You also know the repercussions of not getting enough sleep. I I don't know how many times we need to say it, but this is crucial. And it's so funny because here it is the new year, and we start the new year by drinking and staying up late and celebrating with our friends. But it's actually like the worst way to start your new year. I didn't do that. I went to bed at 9 p.m. on New Year's because I wanted to start my new year right. I wanted to get the sleep I needed. I didn't drink, and I wanted to start the new year with that fresh mindset. If you did party like my husband, he was out a little late. That's okay. That's okay. Again, if you've had bad habits or, I like to go and have a good time, it's okay to stay up late every now and then. We're talking about the things you do every day. The things you do every day make a bigger impact than what you do once. It's so funny because we celebrate, anniversaries and birthdays, and we have these big celebrations, but really we should be celebrating the everyday mundane tasks we do to move the needle, like going to bed at the same time every day. So, how much sleep do we need, right? Well, the CDC and the National Institute of Health recommend that most individuals need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. That's why we get that average of 8 hours that everyone talks about. And interesting enough, in Ayurveda, there is that 8 hour window, right? So, alignment there. But each individual is different. I thrive probably closer to the 7 hour mark, while my husband thrives closer to the 9 hour mark. You know, if you allow yourself and you ask yourself those questions, if you're someone who needs 7 versus 9. And if you're fighting an illness, or if you had a big travel day or something that took a lot of toll on your system and your body, then maybe you need little bit more sleep that night. Consistency matters, though, just as much as, getting that sleep. So, what I'm saying is getting the same amount of sleep every night makes a bigger difference than, one, night you go, oh, I'm definitely going to get my 9 hours, or I'm going to catch up this weekend. Don't worry, I haven't slept all week. Or, how a lot of us just live for the weekends and don't sleep on the weekends, like, oh, I'm going to catch up. It's actually, again, those things that you do every day. So, making up an hour or two is possible. So this is also scientifically proven that you can make up, minutes of sleep, but you can't make up hours and days, weeks, and even months of missed sleep. So again, that consistency and that daily routine of getting enough sleep is what makes a difference. So for today's Coach Yourself segment, I have a few reflective questions for you. What would it take for you to prioritize your sleep? What would it take? Would it take a health scare? Would it take your mom calling you and asking you? Would it take having a baby and realizing that sleep is all you really want? What would it take for you to prioritize your sleep? What are you afraid will happen if you go to bed earlier? What belief do you have about your ability to get enough sleep? Is it that you're a night owl? Oh, I have insomnia. Oh, I just can't sleep. What belief is holding you back? What kind of person would you be if you were able to get consistent quality sleep? And do you truly understand the cost of not getting enough sleep? I also encourage you to create a sleep routine. So I mentioned it a little bit earlier in the podcast, but your sleep routine does not have to be 60 to 90 minutes long. So it's nice if you can start unwinding at that 60 to 90 minute time frame. If you notice if you're an Apple user, your bedtime will alert you ahead of time, right? It's time to start unwinding. Your bedtime's going to be coming up soon, right? But if you don't have a sleep routine now, you can create one with just 10 to 15 minutes. And your sleep routine does not have to be this crazy thing. Sure, it'd be great if you meditated. I agree. And please do meditate at night. It's so good for sleep. But if you are not that person and you're like, Britannia, just give me a couple of things, your sleep routine can be as simple as turning off the lights around the house, locking the door, making sure that you're safe, maybe setting your stuff out for work the next day or your workout clothes for the next morning, brushing your teeth, washing your face, plugging in your phone, taking off your watch, putting on your PJs, climbing into bed, grabbing that pillow, you know, the one that you put in between your thighs, grabbing your baby blanket that you don't tell anyone you sleep with, but you'd still sleep with, and allowing yourself to get cozy. All of these things can become a part of your sleep routine. It does not have to be a big, crazy thing, and it doesn't have to take a long time. Doing these things every night in the same rough order will help trigger your body that it's time to wind down, slow down, turn off, and to get some rest. If you're doing all the things, and if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably doing all of the things. If you're taking your supplements and you're working out and you're setting your goals, but you're not getting enough sleep, your efforts might be in vain. If you're moody and you don't remember important details, if you're anxious and irritable, you don't need another productivity hack. You just might need some sleep. This has been another episode of the Be Your Own Life Coach podcast. If you found value in today's conversation, subscribe and share the love. And remember the teachings of Lao Tzu. When I let go of what I am, I become what I might be. Until next time, trust yourself, take the wisdom, take the breath, and take the next step.